welcome to the ERL INDYCAR series and round number 7 here in Sonoma, California. You can see the drivers heading across the start-finish line now to start their lap behind the pace car. And you can see reprofiling has been done down at turn number 1 compared to the very similar track that we have in Valencia that was just used in the Formula E series. There's no bump down there anymore. But it is Davide Carrera on pole from Carson Thornburg and Salas Kynes, who after this race will have to be hopping into an ERL 02 to be doing double duty in the Formula E series and in INDYCAR. Lil Buns is fourth from Ghosted and Elliott Daly, then Francis Austin also doing double duty for McLaren. He starts 7th in front of Milsos Micah, championship leader Max Sportcar and teammate Daph Sanchez. Quees down in 11th from Dominic Hudson and Marcus Nelson. Then it's David Camino, Charles Hernandez, Linus Eriksson, Tommy, and returning face in the ERL, Rodney Sola, back driving car number 3 this time. Of course, this is before he will return to Formula E next season for the chase in season 23, before they even make it to season 24. He will be in an 02 car driving for Power Motorsport rather. Devin Butler starts in 19th, and speaking of Power Motorsport, here's the number 25 in OQ in 20th in front of Norman Colby and Hexel Mark. Well then, you can see as we're on board with the 19, we're in the final sector. It's one of the shortest tracks on the calendar, and the KV Racing man has an opportunity to take victory here in California. It's the pace car pulling into the pits at the end of this lap. Can Carrera take victory, or will it go to Thornburg once again? Heading down the start-finish straight. Boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys! Rising through turn number 1. Everyone keeping it quite clean and dandy, in fact, on board with Sportcar. Look at how much speed they carry through the opening turns. Tommy with a track limits warning. That's one of the McLarens going alongside with the Revolution Racing driver. Look at the speeds that they're pulling off coming through turn 3. And not Q already. Time penalty in 21st. Fighting with Butler. Hexel Mark not able to fight. Nor is Rodney Sola. Having to readjust to the Prema car. Of course, he's only just been told to step into that car. TJ Davis leaving the seat vacant, and Prema entering a deal with Power Motorsport to get Rodney a little bit more experience under his belt before returning to the big-time Formula E series. Many fastest laps being punched in, a 53.3 from Milsos Micah, which is, in fact, faster than what we saw in Formula E. So the reprofiling that we saw to this track, which is very similar, if not completely identical to the streets of Valencia, whatever they've done down at turn 1 has helped the racing immensely. So you can see them now heading into the final sector. Devin Butler in 20th. He's hit racing royalty, I'm sure. If not him, then it's Colby he's hit. Or is it Sola? On board we go, and yes, Sola was hit by his countryman as he's down in 20th with a mountain to climb. Lap 4 of 17. Here comes Thornburg into turn 1. Close to the wall for both drivers. They're still alongside each other. Push to pass for the number 97. Looking back with Thornburg. You can see how quickly the rear wing shuts. And he's got the fastest first sector of anyone, as we're still looking back with the DHL-sponsored Chip Ganassi driver. He's in the lead currently. Kynes still in 3rd, Ghosted getting passed by Elliott Daly. And could we see some pack racing here? Could we see the entirety of the top 6 fighting over the race lead? If we do, that would be insane considering the speeds that we are pulling off here. Both KV Racing drivers in the top 6. Francis Austin quite a ways away from Lil Buns. Kynes with a second track limits warning of the day. You get 4 of them and it's a slam dunk time penalty. Rising through turn number 1. Look at how the wall kind of juts out there. On board we go with Ghosted. 341 kilometers per hour. That's down the inside for Sir Carrera, reclaiming the race lead. A little bit of a squirrely move coming out of turn 3 there. Heading down the hill. On board with Thornburg and his soft tyres beginning to grain. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that's most of the field, having done 5 laps, including the lap behind the pace car on those softs. And Solar's dropped to the back of the pack. Rodney Solar, he's done some testing in the O2 car, but in the ERL 01 car, the same car he took the championship with back in Season 5, he's struggling. He's at the back of the pack. Hopefully, Prema can get a bit of strategy down to help him in this race. On board we go, Nevin Colby. So he's closing in on Tommy. Hexel marks the first one to pit. And there's no braking coming out of 3. That's insane. On board with Bortcar. And both Andretti drivers have lost positions on the start. Sanchez lost more positions than his teammate. And Hexel's coming out on the hard compound tyre to presumably try and go to about lap. He might actually be able to make it to the end. He might be able to do 11 on them because he was on the softs, and the difference between softs and hards here compared to softs and hards in Formula E, there is a lot more of a noticeable difference as they now round the final turn. Hexel mark, track limits warning. Kynes, Deli and Austin all into the pits. Sir Carrera letting Thornburg go past, and he had to lift down there. On board with Charles Hernandez through turn 1. Can he take 8th? Hold on to it. He's done it. He's in front of the Romanian. Camino drops down to 9th position. And now Tommy having to try and close up to the back of the Power Motorsports man. And he might need a little more power in his car for that to work out. I don't regret any of my unfunny jokes here. And Ghosted up in 2nd now on those mediums. And they are medium tyres that can go quite a ways into this race, I think. I think he should be able to make it to about lap 10. Which means, considering Camno and Hernandez are still out there on the softs, never mind. Ghosted comes in. Lil Buns now takes the lead. And if Sanchez stays out, yeah, they are the only guys out there on the medium compound tyres. Hernandez trying to fight with the Philippine driver in front. Can he go side by side? He does. Side by side up into turn 3. Lunges down the inside. Hops over the curbs and takes 4th position. And Sanchez, well, he's got an answer for him as Kynes gets a track limits warning. But will it be an answer that works? No. Overtake denied for Daf Sanchez at what could be considered one of the fastest races all season long. Look at that, further back, Sir Carrera going side by side with Austin. So he lost out on the pits to the McLaren man, but sent it down the inside anyway with the superior soft compound tyre. Just a note on Tommy, Camino and Solar, they all came out of the pits on the medium compound tyres. Currently the man with the net race lead is Carlos Kynes, but he's also got the most track limits warnings of anyone, 3. So if he gets another one, that's his hopes of maintaining position effectively over. On board we go with the 55. Heads through turn 1. Hops over the curb. And luckily doesn't get hit with a 5-second time penalty. He does have Elliott Daly right behind him. The 3 drivers in front of Kynes are all yet to make their first stop. They are probably trying to go past doing a 2-stop. As here comes Deli, who we know is doing the 1-stop. He sends it up into 4th position in front of Salas. Ghosted gets past Thornburg. So as one Chip Ganassi driver makes a pass, the other one is passed. Lil Buns for KV Racing Lotus. He comes into the pits at the end of lap 9. Daf Sanchez follows him in. Devin Butler. He's done so long on those soft tyres, but it has to end as Elliott Daly now takes the lead here in Sonoma, California. Tommy with a track limits warning Look at that, side-by-side action for everyone, it seems. It's just free. Here we go with Ghosted. Not even a contest as Thornburg takes third position in front of the Apex Pinnacle driver. Kynes is closing in on Delhi. On board we go with the 55. Heading through the second part of the second sector, which flows really nicely into the third. Here we are in the final sector. And it's just about really maintaining your speed. 320 kilometers per hour heading through the penultimate turn, heading through the final turn, and it's roughly about the same. Push to pass and activation for Kynes, who's closing in as there are dark clouds forming above California. We've got a little bit of pack racing happening right now. Prix, fastest lap of 52.3. Here we go with Kynes. Sends it down the inside. A little bit of a hop over the curbs, but can he hold on to the race lead? He can. Salos, Kynes into the lead as Dominic Hudson, time penalty for track limits, on board with Prix on the back of the Premier Power Team driver in front. Does he go alongside? Can he send it down the inside? He does. And now it's all about maintaining that 9th position, and he can't do it. The 98 comes back at him, snaps at the 99, and says, you're going to have to do a lot better than that to get past me. And I think Qui's going to have to concede that position now. He might have to concede to Camino. We've got yellows in the final sector. Who's that? That's Ghosted. Go! Full course caution! That's the most harrowing incident I have seen throughout any ERL championship. Nelson has just had an engine failure heading up the hill. He's been hit. What just happened? Inter's going on for solar, so it's raining now, I guess. With 5 to the white flag. Okay. You wanted carnage at the end of your race in Sonoma? You have it. You have rain. You have both hyperdrive drivers in an incident. One of them less impactful than the other because one of them had an engine failure and then got, mind my phrasing here, railed. And then Austin and Ghosted. Wow. In comes Kynes. And for Salos, Mercedes are going to be loving what they're seeing. They're loving what they're about to see in their car. As that will be the entire field coming in, I'm sure of it. There's no way drivers are going to stay out here. Drivers are staying out here. Who is that? That's not Bortcar. That's Nevin Colby. Nevin Colby has done 6 laps on his hard tyres and is staying out. He's trying to weather the storm. Solar was the first one to go on to the intermediate tyres. Where's he now? He's up in 6th. That is the legend himself. Up in 6th position. He's got tyres that are now up to temperature. They might be a little bit too hot. Actually, yeah, for tyres, these intermediate tyres are burning. Under the California sun, the inters are burning. The hards are in their working condition. So I don't know what is going on. They are cooling down though. They have cooled down for most drivers. Solar's inters are still above 130 degrees. Port cars are just under 120 degrees Celsius. Kynes's are over 120. Colby comes in, lap 14 of 17. Elliot Deli leads the pack in front of Salos, Kynes and Max Portcar. For a race that started as if it was going to have only the finest pieces of ERL INDYCAR Series racing. Ghosted's incident down at turn number 11. That has changed the entire outlook. Alongside this, rain in the dying moments of this race as Solar's gone past Camino. Camino's dropping down the order. I don't know what it is for him. He just doesn't really look like he's got pace. No pace for David Camino, it seems. And now for Rodney. He took his first championship in Season 5. He's up in 5th. We're looking through the entire field. That's side-by-side action between Hernandez and Colby. 3 to the checkered flag. And for Carlos Sainz, he's 2 seconds off the back of Elliott Daly. He's gonna have to use push to pass it. He's got technically better, less overheated intermediate tires, but still they are overheating. They need to be about under 100 degrees Celsius to be in that working range. And even then, it can be a bit of a problem. Sanchez and Thornburg and many a driver getting track limits penalties for just hopping over that part of the track. On board we go with Tommy in last position, down in 19th. And he's trying to close up to the back of Devin Butler. He's probably going to have to use push to pass. Camino and Bortcar both out of the race. Where is that? We've missed that incident on the penultimate lap. So we're coming up to the part of the track where they crashed now with an RQ. And we're getting word from Andretti that it was an engine failure. The engine overheated and the car shut off before Bortcar could actually do anything to get past Camino. But we're on to the penultimate lap now. In this crazy Sonoma race, Cerquera has been given a track limits penalty, and Sanchez swooped across the side of Oiqui. And with 17 drivers in this race, Elliott Daly leading by 5.5 seconds is unprecedented. Almost as unprecedented as Solar being up into 4th position. He started down in 20th. There's any man that you should be voting for driver of the day as we're on to the final lap. Even though we don't exactly have a driver of the day vote here, it is Rodney Solar on his return to the ERL. Because that is the type of driving that we've seen oh so many times. He's going to be back on the podium, in fact, as it stands, because he's gaining on Cerquera. Kynes has been given a 5-second time penalty. Won't impact the race, however. And for this man, Elliott Daly, he picked up the pace as soon as the rain fell, I can tell you that much. He's far ahead of Carlos Sainz. He's far and away the man to beat here in California. Heading through the final sector, car number 38 returns to the top step of the podium in the rain here in Sonoma. Elliott Daly takes victory in round 7. On board with Kynes as he'll come across the line in 2nd position. Cerquera on the track will be 3rd, but Rodney Solar returns to ERL podium. That's 3rd for the Prima Power Team man. Lil Bonds will be 5th from Thornburg and Sanchez in front of Qui, and look at the mid-pack. Look at this. That's insane. Someone in the comments tell me what the average gap for the drivers behind 10th position was, because that was insane. But look at this. This is the podium. Chip Ganassi returns to victory lane with Elliott Daly in front of Carlos Sainz, and Rodney Solar returns to the podium. He finished in 3rd here in Sonoma. Then it's Davy Cerquera in front of teammate Lil Bonds. Then it's Anokyu, Oiqui, Dominic Hudson, and Carson Thornburg from Charles Hernandez. Niven Colby, Devin Butler, Daf Sanchez, Hexel Mark, Nosos Micah, and Tommy, with the non-finishers being David Camino, Max Bortcar, Marcus Nelson, Francis Austin, and Ghosted. In the driver's standings, Bortcar still leads the way with a comfortable margin in front of Elliott Daly, roughly 22 points. Then it's Ghosted, Dominic Hudson, Carson Thornburg, Lil Bonds, Daf Sanchez, David Camino, Francis Austin, Davy Cerquera, Carlos Sainz, Enoch Yu, Oiqui, Nosos Micah, Devin Butler, Nevin Colby, Rodney Solar, Marcus Nelson, Hexel Mark, Tommy, Linus Erickson, and Charles Hernandez. In the constructors' standings, Heading into the next round of the championship, Andretti Green Racing lead the way on 137 points. That's only 17 more than Chip Ganassi. Then it's Apex Pinnacle, KV Racing Lotus, Private Power Team, and Power Motorsport in front of Arrow McLaren SP, Hyperdrive Racing, Sims Motorsport, Dragon Penske, and Revolution Racing. Well, if you wanted chaos, you got it, not just from us here in America, but also from the guys in Spain. We've had 2 consecutive chaotic races in the ERL, and I hope you'll join us when the ERL returns next time out.